That Pfizer-Allergan deal didn't happen. You know that. The total value of abandoned deals has suddenly hit the highest since the financial crisis, as deals are being shut out due to regulations or because it'll send a company overseas. Many of these companies are looking for cheaper tax rates. U.S. is just too high for corporate tax growth. Now, one way they are doing that is by gauging the consumer, and some of them are drastically increasing the price of their products. The latest company, pharma giant Mylan. See this number on your screen? 400%. It has hiked the price of the EpiPen, which has been around for nearly 40 years. Hiked it by more than 400% since it had acquired a tranche of medicines from Merck that included EpiPen back in 2007. Why does this matter? 1 out of 13 kids suffers from fatal allergies, and that is the only life-saving emergency drug that puts epinephrine into this sort of gun. You've seen it, the EpiPen. It's a patented auto-injector, and at the time it was sold about $57 back in 2007. So why is it now for consumers more than $500 or $600? Why is Mylan doing this? How are doctors and parents of children with fatal allergies reacting? With me now is Jeff Lederer. He is one of those parents. His son has needed an EpiPen for his entire life since he was bitten by a bee. He was stung by a bee. We also bring in Fox 5 medical contributor and Metropolis Pain Medicine director, Dr. Devi Nampiaparampil. Welcome to both of you. Jeffrey, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of this price hike?
Well, I'm really grateful that you've shown a light on this subject, especially at this time when people are talking about the election and Zika. This is a huge problem, and it's outrageous what Mylan has done with this drug. There's been no technological advancement. There's been no advancement in any area.
They haven't had to invest, so they can't justify
no
a price
investment.
hike.
There's no justification. I'd be the first person to say that its competitive advantage exists, but I believe that this is pure greed, no incentive, and if people take a hard look at this, they are going to push down the price of the drug, and Mylan's going to be forced to pull back on their decision.
Jeffrey, your son.
My son.
Has a fatal reaction to bee stings.
Absolutely.
He carries these everywhere?
He not only carries them, but his mother carries them, his sister carries them. There are multiple drugs. It's expensive, and especially in the time when people are focusing on the costs of health care. To do this at this time, regardless of whether a person can afford the payment or not, is unconscionable.
Dr. Devi, you work with pharmaceutical companies. Can you stick up for them, or is this just simply not defensible?
Well, I work with them to treat the patients, like most doctors, but this is disgusting. They're taking advantage of people who are trying to protect themselves and their loved ones, especially their kids, like Jeff. I mean, this is a medication that is life-saving for something that's completely treatable, so I agree. It's mostly, or almost all, motivated by greed. I mean, they're also doing this at a time where it's easiest to do so. So their main competitor, Sanofi, had to have a voluntary recall of its products, right? So they are now pretty much dominating the market. The generic brand of the drug that's available, there is a pen that is available to parents.
Adrenaclick.
Exactly. But most people don't know how to use that because of the branding of the EpiPen. And nobody wants to take a chance that you send your kid to school and all of a sudden the school nurse or somebody else doesn't know how to use the generic version of the pen. Right. So that's another issue.
And these expire? Do they not very quickly, correct?
Yes, within a year.
Within a year, and therefore it has become extremely onerous. By the way, and I want to put this right out there up front, we called Mylan. We have asked for the CEO, Heather Bresch. Now, she's got a job to do. She's running a business. But again, we've covered business. You worked on Wall Street. Devi has obviously worked in this business. We know that when a company has to put in a lot of R&D money, okay, we get it, raise the price. But this is virtually the same product as it was in 1977. They gave us I'm really quite stupefied here. They gave us a statement, some gobbledygook about insurance and how parents have higher deductibles, etc. But in the end, they said we're committed to working with customers and payers to find solutions to meet the needs of patients and families served. How committed are you? And by the way, a little bit of digging showed her father is Senator Joe Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia, and it's been Hillary Clinton who's expressed outrage over price gouging. So your thought here?
Bernie Sanders mentioned in the primary, Secretary
So this is not
Clinton.
Just people with allergies.
Absolutely. I think that every citizen who cares about the cost of health care should care about this unconscionable raise in the price of
What
drugs.
would you say to Heather Bresch if you had her in front of you?
If I had Heather Bresch in front of me, I'd say that there are other ways than branding, marketing, aggressive tactics to sell your drugs. This is a life-saving drug, and it needs to be delivered, and it's better PR for Mylan to dampen their price somewhat within the context of affordability.
Okay, speaking of which, Dr. Devi, before we have to go, it is so much cheaper in France and Canada that now you have that old story. People are going north to Canada to buy EpiPens.
Sure.
Mylan has to do something, do they not?
I mean, I agree. I mean, for their profit, but also if you think about it in terms of, usually we think about shareholders, right? But there are a lot of people investing in this drug. I mean, there are patients who volunteer for the studies that help them develop their pen. There are doctors and other healthcare providers that do this also to provide the best possible product out there. And so they're kind of turning their back on all those investors. So they're basically looking just for profit and not for the more philanthropic goal.
And I'm looking at the stock right now, and guess what? It is slipping. It is slipping. Jeff, you worked on Wall Street.
Let's hope.
Do you think that that's something that
sure.
that is
Until they
directly
address
correlated
absolutely.
to people being outraged about this?
I think markets react to attention. And the more attention we put on this issue, the better it's going to be for the consumer and the worse it's going to be for the company.
We appreciate it. Jeff Lederer, good luck with your son. And Dr. Devi Nampiaparampil, thank you for joining us and shedding light on this. And I have a nephew who suffers from a fatal milk allergy. Everybody's houses, we all carry the EpiPens for him. We feel for all of the children, 1 out of 13, that's 2 in every classroom in America, who suffer from fatal food allergies. Mylan, we hope you're listening.